You know, I get asked all the time, could you do Airplane today? And I always say, of course, just without the joke.
It's a good day for a good day. Sending big love in a big way, yeah.
How much did that script change from the first draft to what we see on the screen? Did it change dramatically? Or?
Well, by the time we got to Paramount, it actually changed a lot because there was a guy at Paramount named Tom Perry, who was the head of their story department or their story executive. And he came and he said, you guys need to develop the love story more. It was there.
Right.
And you have to do that doing flashbacks. And we said, well, we could do flashbacks, and doing the flashbacks, we can spoof other movies. Yeah! So that's why you see From Here to Eternity, Saturday Night Fever, and a bunch of other things in there.
Okay.
And we were happy to do that change for the studio because we could do more jokes.
So that love story was not in initially when they told you to go back. Well, that's how it all came about.
The love story was there because Arthur Haley wrote it for 0 Hour. And it was great.
Oh, I see.
It was very...
But the flashbacks are what you guys had to
were added because
and they were so
Tom
great.
Perry said he wanted to enhance it.
Now, let me ask you a question about Staying Alive. Is it sped up a little bit in the movie? Or is it
Yes.
It is.
The music is sped up, which they probably never let us do today.
What was the reason for that? To get everything in time because it was too long? No,
we just thought the song should be fast.
Oh, really?
We applied Hat in Hand to the Bee Gees, and they said yes. Wow. I think I've read some comment that they said they actually liked it better.
Really?
Yeah, they liked it sped up.
Did Robert Hayes, Bob Hayes in your world, Robert Hayes in mine, who I met once, and he was absolutely lovely.
And by the way, Robert Stack in my world is Bob. I call him Bob.
Really?
Yeah,
See,
everybody we got Bob. To be like that.
You got two Bobs.
Yeah. When I run in Spielberg, it's Steve.
You're on a first name, abbreviated first name based on
all
these
people. Guys. Yeah.
But you call me Gregory, but you know, it's Greg. But
Orson Welles, I called him Spike. Nobody knows that.
Yeah, even Orson didn't know that.
You're right. Yeah.
What was the toughest scene to shoot in Airplane?
It was probably the airplane crashing through the glass.
Oh, yeah.
Because we only had one take. We only had enough money for one take.
Really?
And so we had 4 cameras. One of the cameras didn't work. Believe it or not, we got enough. And it was really a good thing that we shot that because it was in every trailer.
Yes, that was the one I
thought, hey, this is a big movie and probably cost $30,000.
Just for that one scene.
Just for that one scene. When our executive producer, Howard Koch, found out about it, it was furious. But John Davison wanted to put a 3/4 size 747 on the back of a pickup truck, and they backed it through. It was all, ready when you are, CB. Yeah.
Right. That to me, it's crazy. Now, between you and your brother, who decided on the lines when you're like, oh, the forklift? Oh, it's over. Yeah. Who decided, okay, I'll ask the line and you'll do the thing.
That I can't remember. It could have been Jim that said, you do this and you do that, because he was the only one left to direct at that point.
Leslie Nielsen did not come into the movie until 38 minutes into the movie.
I didn't know that.
I didn't think he did. I watched it the other day again. I'm like, oh my God, everyone thinks he was the whole star of this movie. He does not come into the second act.
Right. Well, Naked Gun, he got to be in the first reel.
He did. And speaking of Naked Gun, okay, so who came up with the TV show Police Squad?
We were fans of this old 1958, 59 TV series called M Squad. Lee Marvin playing the hard-hitting detective, just completely humorless.
Yeah.
And so we thought, what a great idea to do a TV series. Well, actually, we thought of doing a movie first, but we couldn't do it because we had no idea how to write a movie with a plot. That we learned after Top Secret.
Okay.
When we did Ruthless People with Dale Launer and we wrote Naked Gun, we learned from Top Secret that you actually need a character arc.
So, but Police Squad TV show, was that the first thing you did after Airplane? After Airplane. So you did a TV show after the movie.
Yes.
You all wrote it and you all directed it?
We all directed the first episode of Police Squad.
Okay, smart.
We all directed it and all wrote it. After that, we had different directors. Joe Dante directed one, and there's some other directors.
Yes.
I can't remember their names.
There were 6 episodes that aired, because I actually taped them on my VHS or Betamax. I can't remember what it was at the time. But there were 6 episodes that aired.
And you taped them at the time?
I taped them at the time.
Oh, good, because those are valuable because they have the original music in it. They have to change the music because they couldn't get the permission.
Was it Ira
Newborn? No, not that. It's just, I think some of the songs in it or something.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, maybe I'll sell them to you. Yeah. Did you film more than 6 episodes or only 6 episodes?
No, we filmed. John Belushi would come in. He was at Paramount either writing or shooting something.
Okay.
And he used to come into our office and we used to just shoot the shit with him. And so we said, would you like to do one of the guest deaths?
Right. Tell people what you do for the opening of the show.
Tonight's guest star, Lauren Green. And Lauren Green was thrown out of the car with
He'd roll into the, exactly.
and just stabbed with a and dead. Everybody is dead.
Exactly. Everyone dies in the opening. Every celebrity that was the
Right.
guest star would die in the first 30 seconds of the
So Belushi came to the set, and his death was tonight's guest star, John Belushi, and he's sinking with. First, you see the cement blocks, and then which are tied to his feet, and he comes through camera, and he's dead. On one of the takes, he couldn't get enough oxygen or something, so he started choking, and he had to kind of be rescued. And so, after he kind of coughed up water and he was alive again, I started saying Belushi had been best known for his role in Saturday Night Live and certain movies. And then he picked up on it. He started doing his own obituary, and it was.
And you weren't able to.
We never used it. I think he died before it was aired.
Yeah, I think he died in 80. Well, he
died in 82. I
think.
think.
Right around the same time. So basically, you kind of killed Belushi.
We killed him. Yeah. Well, we killed a number of people.
You did. A lot of people are not there anymore that worked.
John Houseman's last movie.
Okay.
And,
Howard Jarvis's.
Howard Jarvis last movie. Yeah.
Howard Jarvis, for those who really know Airplane, he was the guy that came in the cab in the beginning when he sat in the back seat. Now he's known for fiscal spending back then.
He was the head of or engineered Prop 13.
Right.
Which I am in eternal gratitude.
Yes.
I can afford to live in this house. Not
can.
the hovel that you're in.
I'm in a cardboard box.
Yeah, but that's okay. You know people like me.
The great thing about Airplane and Naked Gun, which we're going to get into in a minute, is that the jokes stand by themselves, even if you don't get the reference. Like most people have no idea who that guy was because he was all about being tight with money. And here he is sitting in a cab as the meter's going. And at the end of the movie, like, I'll give him 20 more minutes, but that's it, which is just hysterical to begin with. But then on top of the knowing who the guy is saying it,
if you know who he is, extra level of absurdity.
After the last part, the end of the credits, why don't you put that scene there? You waited to the actual end of the credits to put that last button on there. What was the reason for that?
To reward anybody who would stay in the theater long enough to watch all the credits.
Did you feel they were going to watch all the credits because they wanted to see somebody in it?
After the word got out that the credits were funny, people did stay, I think.
Really?
No one had ever done funny credits before.
Yes.
But we kind of had this mindset of, well, as we say in the book, not taking anything seriously. And so why is the movie over? And then we start the credits and then we stop being funny.
There is a scene with Robert Stack when he's in the mirror, when you first see him and he's like getting changed in front of the mirror with his wife looking into the mirror at him. Then you reverse that and he walks out of the mirror. Yeah. So this is your directorial debut. And yet, how are you guys doing those kinds of like movie little camera tricks and stuff?
I think it's not so much great directing, but the way we saw movies was, we saw something and we said, how about if he walked through the mirror? Because, I don't
Why
know
would you
who
think
came
that
up
way?
with it. We love to do visual tricks, and we did more of them in Top Secret.
Yes.
We had Val is on the train, and the station leaves.
By the way, also in that movie, Top Secret, and by the way, you do know that the first two movies, Airplane, ! Top Secret, !
Yeah.
Okay. Val's first two movies, basically Top Secret, and then 2 years later, Top Gun.
Top Gun?
2 years after, after your movie. You guys
never-
gave him his start. He was a nobody.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, well, these are things I want you to think about.
And we gave Spielberg his start. He won't tell you that.
You know what? He won't. He's tight-lipped about that.
This ungrateful little...
What is your favorite joke in Airplane that's in the movie?
Well, there's a couple of things that I love. Some are subtle and nobody gets really.
I'll get it.
Like, when the big plane comes through crashes through the glass. You can see a woman holding her baby, running for her life and throwing the baby away. And I
never saw that.
Yeah, no, now you can go back
now
and watch.
That's the one thing I didn't see.
That's right. The other one, I always think, I love this gag, and it was done in a master, and just a couple of takes. The stewardess, Randy, says, never been so scared, and besides, I'm 26 and I'm not married. And then the other lady comes in, and Leslie says, how are you doing? Well, I've never been so scared, but at least I have a husband.
Exactly.
So that thing worked 43 years ago. It'll work today, and it'll work 43 years from now. Whereas, not every joke will stand that test.
Were there any jokes that you thought were going to get a bigger laugh in it and didn't get a bigger laugh?
Yeah, there's always stuff where, that gets a bigger laugh. And so that's why we have, about 3 previews before the movie is finally cut.
Right.
We had a gag where a guy was trying to pull in one of these old movies, a guy, ripped the paper out of a typewriter. And in Airplane, we actually shot a scene, it took a couple of hours, where the guy tries to rip the paper like they do, but it doesn't come out, and it ends up being rubber. It stretches, and then he starts quacking like Donald Duck. And that's what I wish we had that scene, but it was thrown away, as all studios threw those things
So that
away.
was the one scene you wish would have stayed in the movie.
Nobody knew that VHS, DVD, anything was
going to be.
reinvented.
Yeah, I did back then.
But most of the time,
like 3.
When if you have a comedy, it's like they advertise deleted scenes. They're not funny. If they were funny, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't have been deleted. Yeah. So do you know that you have not one but 2 Ronald Reagan references in Airplane?
Did we?
I'm gonna tell you what they were.
I don't remember. It was 43 years ago.
Well, you should know this more than I do.
Okay, yeah.
The one was when they were throwing up, and the one woman and her husband, who never has a second cup of coffee at home, she does have a line where she says something like, "I haven't felt this bad since that Ronald Reagan film." So that's the one thing.
Right.
Then later, George Gipp, based on George Zip, based on the Zipper, which was George Gipp.
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan also.
Yeah.
And this was shot in '79. You shot the movie.
79.
And he wasn't president until 1980. So how did you know he was going to be president?
Oh, we knew that.
You did. So you were like, we're going to put 2 Ronald Reagan jokes in here. I'm not going to remember 43 years later. We're going to put them in now.
That's right. Yeah. No, you never know about these things. But, Ronald Reagan, he was the governor of California.
Yeah.
So he had a job.
He did he had a couple jobs. Right. Yeah. Now this script is I assume there's no real room for improv, but then you had that Stephen Stuckey who played Johnny,
Steve Stucker was in our show. In our
oh, he was
show
on the, okay.
in Kentucky Fried Theater.
Right. So his lines were scripted, or did you just tell him?
No, they were scripted. However, we didn't write them. We would call Steve on the phone. 3 of us would be on, and we'd say, and we had the tape recorder running. We would give him, for example, the questions in the press conference. What kind of plane?
Yeah.
And he came out.
Oh, it's a big, beautiful
white plane with red stripes. It looks like a big Tylenol.
What kind of plane is it? Oh, it's a big, pretty white plane with red stripes and curtains in the window and wheels, and it looks like a big Tylenol.
And we cracked up, and so we just
put
wrote
it down.
This stuff down.
Wow.
We could never write for him.
No, yeah, he was one of those kinds of people who just, he could,
Yeah,
I can make a brooch.
I'll tell you, he said, how about some coffee, Johnny? And he says, no, thanks. Yeah. That we wrote. Yeah.
Right. And he delivers it, great also instead of that. Now, the Jive Talking scene, that one, which probably couldn't be written today, if you wanted to write that scene. I mean, I don't know, people would complain about that somehow, even though it's the funniest, one of the funniest scenes in the whole movie.
Not people, studio executives would be in their frightened state of today's zeitgeist.
Right.
Would say, no, you can't do that. But, it's like we were lucky to have done this movie in 1980.
When you did.
And because, I get asked all the time, could you do Airplane today? And I always say, of course, just without the joke. and all the drug use, I mean, they would go, and it was a more user-friendly time.
Yeah.
But the stuff is still edgy.
It's still edgy, but it's still funny. And I'm surprised that no one's trying. We need to get rid of Airplane. I mean, they want to get rid of everything in the past, but this is, arguably one of the funniest, if not the funniest comedy ever made. And it has all those taboo topics and stuff. Like almost every taboo topic for the most part.
Yeah. We hated any kind of mildness. And usually you find mildness in sitcoms.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of movies, and we didn't want to do anything mild. We wanted to, really.
In the one scene when they're all when the girls singing the song, when the flight attendants singing, and then everybody puts their head into the middle, and then you have the guy coming up from the top. Now, did you guys figure that out afterwards, or did you know you were going to do that all along?
That was in the script.
So he just comes with his head upside down.
1977, it was in the script.
Wow. Okay. Here's a question I think a lot of people want to know. How did you cast the girl with the jiggling boobs?
That was an exhaustive
the
auditioning process.
It took more, more
we had
people
to see a lot of breasts to come upon those, which I thought were the best.
They were the best, the breast, yes. You directed Naked Gun by yourself, without the brother. Without your brother or Jim.
Turns out I didn't need those guys.